welcome back to Buster's Fab Shop. Well, today is Mother's Day, and I'd like to acknowledge the fact that I was blessed to have a mom who cultivated my interest in cars. My first memories of, my mom pushing me around in a grocery cart in the shopping center, and we'd be at the checkout counter, and of course I'd be, the little 5-year-old squirming around in the cart, and there would always be die-cast cars. So she would always go out of her way to let me pick a car, and I would, go home and sleep with it and every other thing, and it was a kind of a ritual, a shopping ritual for quite a while. My mom was always kind of trying to be in tune with her 3 boys, so she noticed that I was, interested in cars, and they were the old style, like from a company called Lesney from England. That's how old it was. I mean, way back. And nice stuff. And I don't know whatever happened to them, but unfortunately, that's how it goes when families move around and stuff. But the next thing I was all on fire about is I was reading in a Popular Mechanics magazine. In the back they had mini bike kits. Oh yeah, so age 10 I'm out there, trying to put my mini bike kit together, and my dad was a traveling salesman, and he was rarely home. I mean, he'd come home maybe one weekend a month. I mean, he was all over the world. And so my mom would hold down the fort, and so she needed something to keep me busy. So there I was putting together a mini bike kit, and we got it running, me and my buddies. And it had horrible brakes, and the dreaded death wobble at 20 miles an hour, and scary stuff. So that kind of went by the wayside, got parked in the side of the garage, and one thing led to another. And so my parents got divorced in 1974, and I was about 14. So my mom was like, well, I need you to help out around the house and make a contribution, not just, eat food and watch sports on TV. I was a big Packers fan. Anyway, so I'm sitting there, and she goes, well, what do you want to do? And I say, well, I don't want a paper route. Paper routes are like, I just don't want to do that. Not that rain and all that. Yeah, I know. And then dishwasher was out at a restaurant, and that was about all I was qualified for. So I turned around and I thought, well, maybe I want to learn about cars. So my mom said, well, I'll go down by the repair, the gas station where I get my car worked on, and I'll talk to the owner and see if he's got, any openings or needs a kid to pump gas. And I said, oh, cool. So sure enough, I get a job at Fred's Mobile. So 14 years old, I had to go to the courthouse, and I had to get a work permit, because back then it was like, they actually had child labor laws, in the United States. Anyway, so they turned around, and I started working for Fred, and everything seemed to be, going quite well. And then the dreaded evening came that I was pulling in the tow truck, and my buddy was closing the door. Well, there was a little miscommunication there. So Brian decided to put the boom of the tow truck through the garage door, the brand new garage door that Fred just had put on like about a month earlier. So, yep, that was a catastrophic oops shit. And so I turned around and, went home and all bummed out and everything. And coming in the next day, and Fred says, well, you're going to work it off. And I'm going like, ooh, that's going to take a while. I think I was making, I don't know, $2.10 an hour or something. And so I went home, told my mom. My mom, oop, that ain't going to fly. We're going down by the gas station. I said, oh, no, Mom, I don't want you to make a big deal out of it or anything like that. Oh, no, we're going down, we're talking to Fred. Okay. Walk in the door, and she goes, you just let me do the talking. And she walked in there, and she told that dude, listen, man, you have business insurance, so the insurance company should pay for the damage to the door. And Brian's not going to be, working for the next 6 months trying to pay for that door. And Fred says, well, I don't have business insurance. And my mom just promptly turned around and looked at him and said, well, you're an idiot. and my son doesn't work here anymore. He just quit. And we walked out. And I was at home going, oh my goodness, now I'm never going to get a job. Everybody's going to know that I got just knocked out this guy's garage door. And my mom said, don't worry about it. I've got a plan. I know the guy that owns the gas station across the street, the Phillips 66 station. I said, okay. So she turns around and we went down there, and she talked to Johnny, the owner. And he was like 27 years old. He'd just taken over the gas station from his brother who blew town. That's another story. But anyway, Johnny goes to her, is Brian the one that, went through the garage door? And my mom said, well, yeah. And he goes, oh, hell yeah, I'll hire him. And I go, okay. So I started working at Johnny's Phillips 66 station, and I think John hired him just to kind of give Fred kind of a dig. They weren't friends. Anyway, so John was cool. So John had a 1969 428 Super Cobra Jet Mustang, 4-speed car, yeah. And the lead mechanic had a 57 Chevy Bel Air with a 327 with a 4-speed, and they were always drag racing and all of that. And I was in heaven. And I mean, these guys were like showing you stuff. So I turned around and I said, well, okay. And, we went along, and I was about, I think about 15, and I started saving money. And I'm reading the Sunday Classifieds. That's how you found cars and parts and all that stuff, was the Sunday Journal, So I'm sitting there looking through the thing. Oh, hell yeah, here we go, 1955 Chevy. So me and my brother, who was probably about 18 at the time, turns around and he goes, you want to go look at it? I'll drive you over there. So we drive over there, look at the thing. It's pretty rough. I mean, it's a drag car, essentially, still kind of street legal. It had a 60 over 283 with a 4-speed with 488 gears. Oh boy. And then it had a fiberglass front end on it that was already mounted, and then it had the wheel wells were cut out with an aircraft shears, big slicks hanging out. And I'm going, oh, this is too cool. So couldn't drive it home, of course, because I don't have my driver's license yet. So my brother drives it home, and I probably put it in my mom's 2.5 car garage in Wisconsin. So mom is now kind of barely parking her car into the garage. But then I get this big idea. I'm going to take this all apart and, do it my way. Oh boy. So we pull the engine, pull the transmission, da-da-da. One thing leads to another. And then one day I decide, this car, the body is kind of rough, and I don't want to, be doing body work till the end of time. So I'm going to see if I can find something cleaner. So I turn around and I'm looking around on the classified ads, and sure enough, there's a 1956 Chevy body. No engine, no transmission, nice interior, super clean body. So I turned around and we walked out there, and it was in the back of a farmer's barn. So we roll the thing out, bring it home, put it in the garage, promptly take up the entire 2.5 car garage. So now my mom is parking outside. Yeah, in the Wisconsin winters. Yeah, chipping your windows. Nice, right? And I did that for, I think, like almost 3 years. Yeah. And so I'm sitting there, and one thing leads to another, and I go off to college, and I got rid of both cars because I didn't get them done, but I had a lot of fun working with my buddies out in the driveway and everything else. But we turned around, and my mom was sitting there, oh, you want to be an engineer? And my mom got me into college. I mean, she filled out all the papers, got me a grant. I think I had like a student loan of like $800 or something. So I go there, and, absolutely, I hate it. It's just, I went to a college that there was an engineering school, so there were very few girls. That was a major problem. So I turned around and I said, well, I don't think college is for me. And mom was, of course, disappointed, So I come back and everything like that, and I'm sitting at home, and go back to work at the gas station. Of course, can't do that forever because, he doesn't have room for me to pay me the kind of money I need to support a family. So my mom, who's always, championed my ideas. Turns around, she gets me a job at an automated welding equipment outfit. Her friend's husband was a player over there, so he gets me in. So I worked there for 10 years. I learned more there than you could shake us. I mean, I learned everything I knew there. It was just welding, laying out, machining, fitting, assembling, reading blueprints. You know, I knew some blueprint reading from college. I took mechanical drafting in high school and in college, but it was just it was my ticket to learning how to build stuff. So I turned around and I decided, yeah, I'm gonna move from that place because I need to make better money. And my mom helped me out, and I turned around and started working toward my apprenticeship, and that was a long, drawn-out deal. I did a lot of traveling, 5-year apprenticeship, IAM, International Association of Machinists, and then I turned around and came back home and everything like that, and worked for Master Lock, and then I ended up working for Harley Davidson for 20 years and retired out of there in 2019. So, long story short, is she to give you a little more background about her allure to cars. She had some really nice stuff. I remember riding around. She had a 1964 Buick Skylark convertible, beautiful car, black, red interior. So we'd drop the top, we'd go to the ice cream stand and all that, me and my 2 brothers sitting in the back, all that. And then she had a 1967 Mercury Cougar when they first came out. The car that she got was actually on the showroom floor at Jack Griffin Ford. I was about 10 years old when we picked that one up, and walked in there, and that thing, it had a Hypo 289 in it. Really nice car. I mean, turquoise black vinyl top on it, and she drove that one for years. And then when I went off to college, she gave me that car, and then she bought a 72 Mercedes 280 SEL 4.5 liter fuel injected V8 gas sedan, and that thing was fast. And she'd tool around in that, and everybody loved the Mercedes, and they knew it was her and all that stuff. But she understood when I get into a project or something like that, what it was, I was trying to do, and essentially it morphed into, a career where I made a very good living. I was making 6 figures and stuff, and without her, standing by me and, cultivating my interest in all things mechanical, I wouldn't have gotten where I got. And my dad, like I say, I love my dad and everything like that, but my dad was kind of a over here guy. I mean, he ended up getting remarried, and which is cool and everything, but my mom was my biggest proponent in the whole ordeal. But my point is this: without people in your court, you don't get as far. And today's Mother's Day. Love you, Bob. I miss you. Yeah, she died at 90 years old. Still asking how my projects are going. Yep. Tell your mom.